Hi, I'm Renelle Golden, and you're listening to the Movie Making Podcast. This episode is brought to you by Audible.
The Audible app makes it easy to listen anytime, anywhere. Whether you're stuck in early morning rush hour, reluctantly getting in those reps at the gym, or walking the dog, just turn on one of your favorite Audible titles and be transported away from the daily grind. Try out Audible for free with the Movie Making Podcast affiliate link, www.audibletrial.com/moviemakingpod. That's audibletrial.com/moviemakingpod.
Everybody. Today we are here with Dominic Lopez. He is a director and a cinematographer. Welcome, Dominic. How are you doing today?
I'm doing very good. Thanks for having me on.
I'm thrilled to have you here, and I can't wait to talk about your new project, Little Jar. I just watched the trailer. Oh my God, that thing is so funny, and just a sheer delight in dealing with. I don't know. I related to the main character. I don't know if I should admit that, but I just loved it. It was awesome. So we will get to that. But let's start out talking a little bit about your filmmaking journey and how did you get into making films? When did you know and how did it all start?
Yeah. So I think like everybody else, you have a family member who has a camera. You make little shorts at home. I remember I remember a while ago, I was looking at old family photos and I noticed the big group shots and I wouldn't be in them. And I asked my dad,
you're behind the camera?
Yeah, exactly. I asked my dad, I was like, wait, where am I? He's like, well, you're the one who could take the picture the best. So I'd be the guy taking the photos.
Oh, man. Yeah, that's cute.
It's kind of how I knew I had an inclination towards it. My dad was a hobbyist photographer, but with a really good composition, a great eye, but never really kind of went into that. My mom, I guess, when she was in grade school, was really into acting, but more just kind of public speaking. She liked that.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, and I didn't know any of this stuff.
Natural aptitude kind of from them. Did you
exactly
do it in high school, or did you know, oh, hey, I'm going to go, to college for this? How did you end up actually starting to make film? The journeys today is so different.
Yeah, exactly. I think, when I was in high school, I was mostly I did mostly sports, right? Because my dad was really a big fan, so I kind of did that. But I always played music, in the band. And then through the music, I had a theater director ask me, he's like, would you come audition for some of the plays? I auditioned, I got cast in high school, and that's kind of where I got the whole acting, storytelling side of it, right? I'd always been making little short films, but really nothing major, right?
Right.
I just didn't know it was a thing you could do. I always felt it was a fun hobby, right?
Yeah, a passion.
Exactly, right? Just something it made me feel good, but I didn't realize that it was something that you could capitalize on.
Right.
Both my parents work in the medical field. So when I went to college, I was actually going to become a general practitioner, a doctor, and maybe specialize in something else. Yeah. So I was actually studying. Yeah. I was actually studying biology, hoping that I would then, in my master's and doctorate, branch off to something else. But I just always had a camera. I remember spending some of my college money on this really nice Sony HD camera at the time, which was
you didn't tell your parents, right?
No, I didn't, and they were pretty pissed when they found out about it. But then, but I started doing theater as a minor in college because I didn't have the money to go to film school. I had a state scholarship for the state university I went to. They didn't have a film program.
Right.
So I kind of thought an SL in between, just so I can kind of keep creating and writing and making stories was to do theater. I did it as my minor, and then I think it was my junior year, I just flipped everything. I realized no, I want to stick. The storytelling is what I cared for. I was spending more time in the theater and the shop and building stuff and
oh wow,
trying to force them to put video into everything. So I swapped my minors. I dropped the biology altogether, which also my parents weren't terribly excited about. But they always supported me. They always say look, if this is what you want to do, you can do it. We don't know what you're going to do with it, but go for it. And that's kind of when I realized that you could do something with it.
For being happy in life.
Exactly.
And if it's something you love and you're willing to put everything into it, you can be very successful. It might not be as, the same rate or pace as doing other avenues, but you can be. And judging from your work, you seem like you're right where you belong.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I mean, I feel that way too. So
Yeah.
I feel like it was a good choice. I don't know if I'd be a good doctor at this point. I have really shaky hands. I don't know how
You
that
can do
works.
it in the movies. You can
Yeah,
be a
exactly.
filmer of
I'll play one
doctors.
on TV. So.
Yeah. What was your first film? When did you make your first film where you were behind the lens and directing?
Yeah, I think one of the earliest films I made was on those old like VCR over the shoulder like camcorders
Oh,
that
that's
people
cool.
had.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it was essentially what like Blair Witch became, right? But this was back in like the really really early '90s before it even came out.
Oh,
And it was like kids ghost hunting, and then all of a sudden they hear a ghost, the camera falls
we
down.
have a forest
You
near the
know,
house. Let's go make something there. And,
yeah, exactly.
that's
We attach
fun.
a flashlight to the camera, it fall over,
Yeah.
and somebody gets dragged in the background, kind of stuff. So yeah, we made those quite a
Did
bit. But
you have all your friends and family? Like, did you force them to watch it and sit around and?
No, I mean, essentially, I made them for myself. So I had one friend act in those ones with me, and then my dad just happened to see it over our shoulder because we'd come back in, we'd plug it in,
Oh,
play it,
yeah.
say, okay, let's do this again, rewind to where the edit needed to be, and then go out and shoot it again. And like that was editing, right? You just played in real time, stop it at
Very
the right
different.
moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, and my dad got a kick out of it, but it wasn't anything. I didn't put on like big performances or big screenings for people. It was really just so I could
I
have
would
it.
torture everybody. I'd be like, come sit in here now.
Yeah, I wish I had done that, but it would make doing this stuff a little bit easier.
Now you can do it in a bigger way, right? In an actual theater or something.
Exactly.
So that's very cool. So you went on, you've been, directing and doing cinematography. Do you have a preference between cinematography and directing, or do you love kind of doing them both simultaneously?
Yeah, I love doing them both. It's hard simultaneously when you get on bigger projects because there's just too much to manage as a director, too much as a DP it's really difficult to like manage two different departments, right?
Yeah, that's true.
I think my natural inclination is the storytelling. So I think directing is where I ultimately want to like end up. If I had to give up one, I would give up cinematography as much as I love
what
it.
my next question was going to be, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like I love directing so much. I love crafting a story and building a world. Even in my cinematography, sometimes I find that like as a cinematographer, I'm much more willing to like allow the space for the actors to perform and be less nitpicky on lighting. And sometimes that works really well, and other times it may be to a detriment. So I think
you have that director blood in you because you're very concerned about
the story, right? They like all of it as a big picture as a whole. And some directors really appreciate that, and other ones get bizarre about that. So it's a fine line you got to work. Yeah,
it is. That's so true. So tell me about Little Jar. How did that come to be?
Perfect. Yeah, so I'll give you the condensed version of it because it's kind of a long story, but essentially, Kelsey Gunn, who stars in it, she's my writing partner. She's also now my fiance. We got engaged, and we got engaged.
Let's jump all in. Let's do it all. I love that.
Yeah, it was all perfect. But we had been making these little micro short films at our production company, Gray Rabbit Films. We would just kind of make these weird little mood pieces, put them on Instagram under our Gray Rabbit Instagram page.
Kind of build
it was just fun exercise.
And your work behind your company.
Yeah, exactly. Because I shoot a lot of commercial stuff, right? So, and I do like independent narratives. So like it's fun to like keep those skills sharp, right?
Right.
The pandemic hit. We were kind of locked in. We made 2 other short films, those little micro shorts. They're never more than like a minute, right? And then we just kind of had this weird idea, like, why don't we just start writing something bigger, like a feature? We can't go anywhere. We're locked in our 1-bedroom apartment. Yeah. Let's write something that maybe we can film here. And so I would, take the morning shift. I'd write there. Then she'd pick up like afternoon shift. She'd write also because she's also a writer as well.
Yes. Yeah.
After about 6 months,
collaborate.
Yeah. It worked really well. I mean, it was difficult at first, right? We have 2 different types of voices. So it's kind of like marrying the 2, which, compromise comes into it. But
I love that.
After about 6 months, about writing 8 to 10 hours a day, because we had the time to do so, we had a 90-page script that we were in love with. Had some people read it, got some really positive feedback, and just thought, like, what the hell? Like, what if we can raise the smallest amount of money that we know we'll need, and then we'll just carry the brunt of the work and the effort, and let's go up and make this. So we raised, when I say we're micro, we're like the microest of micro budgets for this movie. The crew were 5 people, it was 5 of us made the whole feature. And, we just plucked away and,
it was done very well.
Thank you.
Just from the acting, obviously Kelsey's great. She is really good, but the timing, the catching the expressions, the way the shots were set up, I was like I don't normally like get drawn into a story and stuff because I see so many. And I'm a lover of all films, even the ones that suck.
Yeah, same here.
I probably have made one or two of those and then really good ones. But there was just something about it. I just related to that character the whole time. I don't know how much you want to give away of the story. I mean, obviously people can watch the trailer for Little Jar. But there's just something about it. I would love to see that like on a big screen or, I don't know. And how did you guys get the idea for that story? Was it because of the pandemic or?
Yeah, partially because we knew that so for the audience, it's about a woman who's locked in because of the global pandemic.
Yep.
And then she's a misanthrope. She's really excited about it. But then when it keeps going and going and going, she starts missing connection, realizes she does like people. But because she lives in a cabin in the woods where she's by herself, there's nobody to talk to, right? So she makes friends. Yeah, she makes friends with the next best thing that she finds, which happens to be a dead mouse in a little jar. And so essentially we're like a pandemic comedy. It's a friendship story. It's really sweet.
Very funny. It's very
but essentially, we were missing friends.
Is that a good word for it? It was just,
absolutely, yeah, totally. Yeah, absolutely. But we were just missing friends in the pandemic, and that the mouse actually was an old toy that Kelsey had been given from her German grandmother.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so we just had that in our apartment, and as we were kind of throwing ideas at the wall, I had this idea of what if you're friends with the mouse? It's cute, right? It's a cute little toy. Is there something there, right? And
I love that.
Yeah, it just presented a whole lot of challenges and trying to write for those challenges because the mouse doesn't talk. So it made the writing fun, right? There's a lot of obstacles we had to overcome, but every time we did it, we realized it just made everything better. I think that's what gave us the encouragement to just keep moving forward with the story. So that's really how it kind of came to be.
That is so cool. I actually will watch this one. It was awesome. So is it out there now? Has it already been released?
Yeah. So we were released on September 12th.
Okay.
And we are available for video on demand on Amazon Prime, Apple TV. You can go to Vudu, Google Play. And I think if you have Xfinity cable, we're on there as well too.
Oh, that's cool.
And then I think we have released, we're still negotiating the terms, but it looks like we're planned release for streaming sometime in November, maybe early December.
Oh, nice. That's really cool. Did you film it during the pandemic? The height of it?
Yeah. We filmed it in late September of 2020 into October for 2 weeks.
Okay.
So this was pre-vaccines, it was we were in the height of all that stuff. We were 5 friends that all stayed locked in, which is why, again, it's why we made it with such a small crew because we wanted to be safe.
Yeah. It's hard.
We went up to a cabin in Lake Arrowhead, which is the mountainous woody area outside of Los Angeles.
Oh, that's nice.
Quarantined together, and then we're able to make the film. So.
Wow. Yeah. Filming during the pandemic, I did a feature too, because my 23-year-old son, he just turned that yesterday. Ooh, I'm old. He's my writing partner. And we had just started our company right before the pandemic. So in February of 2020, we were filming for an investor. We were making a pilot version of the feature we were going to start. And we finished filming that. We were in post on it. And then in March, the investor's everything shut down. And a couple weeks passed. And he's like, guys, I can't do this right now. I just can't. We don't know what's going to happen. And we just started this. It was our first feature film together. I've been making films for 15 years. And I'm like, oh my God. And he came to me, my son, he says, Mom, I should act more businesslike and not use that word, right? Miss Rennell, he's like, what can we do? Because the pandemic's here. What can we do with what we have left? We can't, with all the challenges, figure it out. And we started shouting out locations that we had in our little town where we live. And we had a bowling alley. Well, no one's going to the bowling alley right now. And that one stuck. We had a farm and we had this and that and an empty mall and a movie, right? The bowling alley stuck. And then we brainstormed a concept and we wrote it very quickly. And by November, we had gotten approved by SAG. We were one of the first approvals in Florida under, the union at that budget level and stuff. But oh my God, filming, I had been filming a long time. And then to do it with the new pandemic rules and all your zones, and you had to have your, your COVID nurse on set and all these testing. It was definitely different. And a little bit stressful, but we did it, and that released last year. But oh my God.
Congratulations on getting it made, because filming during COVID, because I know that, like, especially with all the sets today that, like, working on the commercials and the shows that I worked on, it was just, it was a nightmare. It was not easy. Because working as a camera operator as well too, when you're doing a show, and I think in the early days we used to have the face shields plus the mask, and you'd fog it up and you couldn't see anything. Yeah, and you're like, I don't know what I'm doing here. Like I'm filming blind. It doesn't make any sense. And half the time with the
face shields, you're like fogged up anyway.
Exactly, and you couldn't be near anybody, but you're trying to capture everything. It wasn't easy at all.
No. One of the big issues we had, and hopefully you haven't faced this, it was the beginning of testing. And I had brought in a couple people. Mostly we used local, and we didn't have that many people. So one of the downfalls of a pandemic film in a bowling alley is it wasn't packed, but hey, we still did it. And it was a small town concept anyway, like deserted and depressed and stuff. But I flew in this one star, and he was terrified, I guess, of getting a COVID test. So he made fake ones. And yes, he had gone to the internet and found them. And my nurse realized it. I had no idea. I wouldn't have known had she not brought it to my attention. And I hadn't let him come to set yet because he wasn't up, but I had him here, and he had his test, and I gave it to her. And every time I brought it up to him, he's like, oh, I sent you the wrong thing. He doctored up and resent the exact same thing to her again, hoping that the new change of name or a little more data. Eventually I had to can him. No,
of course,
you can't come. And then I was in a panic because it was a lead role. And so I had literally had to cast where we had already started filming.
Yeah.
It was a challenge. I had a co-director on that, thank God. And he saved my butt a few times because I had to go wear the producer's hat and, jump in and put out fires. But we did it. And you can tell I'm proud.
Awesome. Proud we lived. That was the crazy part about that, is there were just so many unknowns during that, situations like that. That's the first that I've heard of, but we were on other sets where, all of a sudden you find out your crew is half of them have tested positive. You're like, oh no.
We did not get go home that time around.
Oh man, you're so fortunate.
I actually still had 40 people, but we were rotating in the cycles, because I did bring in a big crew because it was ambitious to do it really fast.
Yeah.
Thank God nobody got COVID. And
absolutely.
Yeah. And that was my son's first experience making a feature film with his mom. And I'm like, so he didn't.
From here, it's just smooth sailing. Yeah, it'll be fine.
He's like, I'm never going to set, Mom. Just forget it. And I'm like, oh, okay. So anyway, back to you, because that's why we're here. So Little Jar is out, and it's streaming, and then hopefully it'll be streaming on some other platforms in a couple months. Where can people go to look at the trailer and all that? Does Little Jar have its own website?
Yeah. So littlejarmovie.com is our website. You can see the trailer there. Our distributor is Good Deed Entertainment, and they have the trailer on their website as well too, as well as their YouTube page. And then at Little Jar is our Instagram account, which is where we post most of our information and contact. So you can find everything there too.
Oh my God. Well, I highly recommend it. It's awesome. You guys, have you started brainstorming for the next one?
Yeah. So, we wrapped Little Jar in 2021. We did a festival circuit, and then obviously distribution takes some time to lock it, right?
Yes.
So we've had some time. We've been brainstorming. We've got 2 of the scripts we're kind of loosely working on right now. When you're such a small crew, it's pretty hard to be actively writing and be the main producers in the post side of it, because I think a lot of filmmakers don't realize how much post is. I know we didn't, right? I had an idea, but it's totally different once you're in the middle of it, right?
It took us
so much longer. Yeah, exactly. And every time you go somewhere, they want certain things that you didn't even think about. There's brand new things to deliver. Exactly.
Yeah.
So we haven't been as active writing as we wanted to be, but over the last 3 months, we've kind of really we've had these ideas since before Little Jar. Little Jar was just the easiest one to make. Yeah. So now we're kind of actively pursuing those. We're writing those again.
And our plan is to have the next team again. You're writing together
absolutely.
And
all the time. Yeah.
Oh, that's so
and we're still, and we I mean, so essentially we go through these cycles, right? So it seems like, we do a little couple of these micro shorts, maybe we make one bigger short film, and then it gives us confidence to write the big one. So
Yes.
right now while we're actively kind of writing these other two features, we're still making our micro short films. So like I said, our page Gray Rabbit Films has new content coming out.
Right.
We
Do
have
you guys
two
write those
longer.
together? Do you brainstorm?
Yeah, sometimes a lot of them are just like, I have a weird idea. I kind of picture this, and then we'll just kind of like write maybe half a page.
Okay.
But since Little Jar, all of our shorts are actually getting longer. So we're writing 3 to 15 minute, shorts now. So we have about 3 or 4 of those that we want to make. That being said, that's a whole different set of complications as well too. So we're trying to figure out which is the first one to do, second, third, and then and actively writing the feature as well. The idea is that I feel like you can't just jump into a feature cold, right? If you've been writing it the whole time, you need to be managing small projects along the way.
Yeah.
Because the big one's just going to be this enormous problem. So I feel like you just have to. It's like exercising, right? If you're not working out, you're not just going to bench press like 200 pounds all of a sudden, right? You got to be able to like build up to it. And I feel like that's what
barely
the movie
do
is,
5.
Right?
Let's be
exactly. But I feel like the movie is like is like the deadlift of the century. Yeah, exactly. So if you're not actively working up to it, I feel like the feature can get out of control pretty quickly. So that's our thing. We make short films. We probably drop about at least 2 to 3 per month on our page. And again, they're really simple.
Is it all in house?
Yeah, it's all in house. Like obviously, like as a DP and a director, I can kind of do them real quick. Kelsey writes. We do it's like the Robert Rodriguez kind of idea of like film what you have or film what you know, right?
Yes.
So we look around, we have this, we write a little premise on it, and then we go and make it, and we turn them around like in a day or two. So
that's sweet. Where can people find that content? That's under your is it Gray Rabbit?
Yeah, so it's at Gray Rabbit on Instagram. You'll see that we've got a bunch of reels posted up right now.
Cool.
We just filmed 2 last night that we'll be posting. We have 2 others that have been edited already that we'll be releasing as well. I believe the next one drops tomorrow.
Have any of those little shorts inspired like a feature?
Yeah. So the one that I think it's coming out tomorrow or next week is called Tiny Feet. And so Tiny Feet is the next feature that we're writing. It's essentially about a woman who she hates her overly sized feet. I say that in quote, right? Because that's how she perceives it, but she hates her large feet. And she envies her friends' perfectly tiny feet, so she chops them off and she wears them as her own.
And so awesome.
Yeah, and so that's the premise for the big feature that we're working on right now.
Oh wow, that's wild. Is that a horror? Like a horror?
It's kind of like a dark comedy, right? Yeah, we describe it the way we're writing it right now. That's the one that we've worked on the most. We describe it as like Heathers meets Pearl. Right. So you have a good mix of the horror kind of side of it, but there's some comedy that builds into it because I'm not entirely a dark doom and gloom kind of person.
Yeah. Oh,
I find joy in a weird little situation. So, but yeah, that's the next one that we're really working on, that we're the most excited about. But like I said, I think we have another feature that we've been tinkering with. It's just the concept might be bigger than what we're able to do right now, but we're not limiting the writing of it. So we're trying to go as big and like abstract as we can and then see how we can make it happen.
Yeah. Oh, that sounds exciting though. I love collaborating with people. It's just keeps you going and makes something.
Yeah, exactly. It helps a lot. I can tell you that.
Yeah. I write with lots of people. So if you had, and this is just for you, if you had a, like a dream project, something you haven't done yet, what would be your like dream project as a director? Yeah,
I think what I'd like to do is I'd like to manage, obviously through my own voice, but I'd like to direct a project that feels as big as like a Christopher Nolan movie or like or Steven Spielberg, right? Something that just encompasses all the storytelling. Yeah, exactly. But it's not necessarily the legacy. It's like, I just want to know that sometimes you watch those movies and you're like, how the hell do they do that? Like, how do you even begin? How do you manage that stuff? So I think what I'd like to do is like, obviously my story, my voice, but at that complexity and that level, just so that I can know that I, as a filmmaker, have been on the right path. Right. So like now I can do the big epic. I think I like that. Cool. But I love indie movies.
Do you have a favorite genre that you work in, or do you love them all?
No, I love them all. I think what I like to write and tell is kind of like absurdist comedies or surrealist horrors kind of thing. Yeah. I love surrealism. I love magical realism. I love absurdism. And all that's from like my theatrical background. Like that. Those are the plays that I was drawn to, the performances that I really love.
Have you ever acted in movies? Do you think you'd ever do that, or have you?
No, I mean, I acted in theater and I was always cast in the background. That's how I knew I wasn't like the best for it. But I really like creating the story and telling it.
Yeah.
I have a very, very small cameo in Little Jar because we needed the extra body. If you look closely enough, you'll see me, but I don't point it out. But
my arm gets in there sometimes. It's like,
yeah,
a filler in a chair, right?
Exactly. You just need a little piece of something. So, but yeah, I don't have the desire to act because I know there's people who can do it better than me, but I like cultivating those performances more. So
that's actually a skill I like that better too. That's really cool. Yeah. So is there anything you'd want to share before we move on to like our crazy questions that you'd like to share about your upcoming projects or where people can find you? And then I'd love to get some of your advice.
Yeah, for sure. Like I said, littlejarmovie.com is going to be the best place to find out current information on the film. You can also find out where to buy it through there. And then following the Instagram page, we post most of our stuff at Little Jar Movie. I think it's just at Little Jar on Instagram. Okay. And then at Grey Rabbit Films is where we just kind of, you'll see us kind of creatively working on whatever the next thing is. Yeah, exactly. And it's a pretty collaborative community, right? If people are allowed to pitch ideas there, then somebody else can make something too.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so it's like, we're just trying to cultivate a really fun collaborative community that people just really like to make movies. So.
Oh, that's so cool. Wow. I love that. I do, genuinely. What about advice? What would you share with like people that want to just get in the industry regardless of the role? Because obviously this industry is not for the faint of heart.
Yeah.
It's definitely, you've got to have some kind of passion. So what would you tell somebody that wants to set out and do this?
Yeah, I mean, you've heard it a lot before, so it's really just reiterating, but it's like, if you would choose to do anything else, right? If there's anything else you love more than making movies and being in film and TV, don't do it because...
I've actually never heard that. Nobody ever said that, but it's the
great. Well, I'll be the first to tell you right now, because I mean, I think a lot of like, especially because I live in Los Angeles, right? You run into a lot of people who are in the industry who just kind of say like, man, I just wish I'd love to do anything else because it's hard. It's demanding. There's a lot of downtime. There's a lot of time where you feel like you're not successful.
Yeah.
And then you have these little like explosions where you're like, oh, we're doing great. And then it goes back to like what it was. So many valleys amongst all these like random few sporadic peaks. But man, like if you just love to make movies and you're doing it already, keep doing it. I think it's a numbers game, right?
It is.
The more you do it, eventually something's going to hit. Eventually it will lead to the next thing. And it's not like major leaps. Like the stories that you read on like the trades or, you hear the news articles.
First time director on this giant budget.
I promise you, like, yes, that's how they sell it because that makes sense. But they're not just picking somebody out of film school, like, bam, here you go, right? It very rarely happens that way. They've made a lot of stuff to get there because you can't. It's like, would you buy a table, a handmade wood table from a first-time wood maker, or would you go with the guy who's much older, who's been doing it forever? You're going to go with the experience, right? It's a trade. You're building these skills. So, if as long as you have the passion and you really, really feel like you need to do this, just keep doing it.
Yeah.
Because you will eventually have these moments, and those moments will lead to other moments, and you just slowly build onto it.
Yeah, and that's good advice. It's basically only do it if you love it. There's something you love more.
And look, it's a love-hate relationship, right? Like
there are times
I hate it. Yeah, exactly. Like I don't want to do this ever again. And then when you leave, you realize you feel empty and you're going to go right back.
I have no purpose in life. If I walk away, I have no purpose. So I come back.
Exactly.
And, people are always like, why don't you go do something a little more reliable? Because the filmmaking is ebb and flow. It's a numbers game.
Absolutely is. Absolutely.
Yeah. So that's great advice. I love that. And nobody has actually ever said that. Surprisingly. I mean, you are part of my second season and I have never heard it yet. So
cool.
Almost 60 episodes. Nobody said that. So very, very.
Well, I will take it. I'll take my award when it arrives in the mail.
Yes, you have great advice. All right. Well, what I'd like to do now is transition into our 5 for 5. And what I do is I ask 5 goofy questions. And there's a test at the end on your own answers. No, I'm just kidding.
That was great. This is like, what? I was a bad test taker.
Oops. No, they're kind of goofy and it's just for people to know you better. So if you're ready, I'm gonna fire away at them. There's no time limit though. Okay. All right. Question number 1. What is your favorite food?
Oh, I mean, yeah, pasta. Like any day of the week, pasta is fantastic.
Pasta? Are you Italian?
No, I'm not. Yeah, but like,
love pasta?
No, not at all. Just love pasta. Look, Mexican food is pretty high up there as well. But like, man, pasta is just good comfort food.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It's so bad for you.
Meat,
but
and I'm like, just meat?
Yeah.
Anything?
Yeah, just meat in general.
Oh, okay.
No, I mean like whether it's like
pasta's good. I can get
cheese sauce, a cream sauce, a red sauce, green pasta's great. I'd say pasta. Yeah.
I love that. I love it. Okay, question number 2, a little more serious, but non-film related. What is something that inspires you or motivates you in life?
Learning about the universe and like where we come from, right? I'm not necessarily a religious person, but I find a lot of, I think the same spirituality and like learning about the universe and the creation. Yeah. Like the idea that we literally all do come from the same stuff. And there is this connection between all of us. Like that inspires me and it gives me hope for humanity and all of existence. So yeah, like I love that.
Right now we need a lot.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I like that. That's a great answer. Okay. What is something that you have always dreamed of doing, but haven't done yet that is not related to movie making?
I would probably say I've always had this idea that I would love to work like in a wildlife preserve, either with like chimpanzee, well, less chimpanzees because they're a bit scary, but gorillas. Yeah, no, but like working in a conservation with like gorillas would be really, really fascinating. I absolutely love primates in general. Or working with like another animal like elephants would be.
What about pandas? Because I always see those jobs where you can get a job hugging a panda. Have you seen?
Yeah, exactly, something like that. I mean, I'm a big animal lover, but like I am so I don't know, like going back to the whole connection with the universe thing. Like it's hard to look at primates and see how we're not as related. Like we're just like so much in the same. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. So I think getting to live around gorillas, and maybe chimpanzees from the distance, they're a little bit crazy, but that would be something I'd love to do.
Maybe you could do that one summer and you can take Kelsey and you two can be like gorilla parents.
Yeah, exactly. Just holding a baby gorilla would be great.
It's practice for later.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I love it. I'm going to make trouble. Oops. Okay. What is your favorite song to sing at the top of your lungs when you're like driving around in the car? You think no one's listening or watching. They're watching.
Yeah. It's recently it's been Lizzo's About Damn Time. It's just a good song to get excited. Yeah, it's just a great song. Especially when you're going to like a shoot. Yeah, when you're going to a shoot that you don't really care about. You're like,
the feeling.
And just pop yourself up. Yeah, exactly. It's just a good catchy song. I like it.
It is actually, and it's self-empowering. Anyway, it's a good song.
Yeah, you're just excited by the end of it. It's hard to like not like it. So.
That's awesome. Okay, this is a hard question for filmmakers, and I don't have an answer, but I still like to ask it.
Yeah.
So, what is your favorite movie of all time?
Oh, hands down, Black Swan.
You have one? Oh my, Black Swan. Yeah. Oh, good movie.
It was. I remember I saw it in the theater 4 times when it first came out. It was.
Oh wow!
It was the movie. I know there's other movies kind of like it's somewhat genre, like The Tortured Artist, obsessed with that kind of thing.
Was it Natalie Portman that played?
Yeah, Natalie Portman, directed by Darren Aronofsky, who he's always been one of my favorite directors. I've loved him.
Oh, that makes sense. Why you love him?
I first found out about him, I was like, he's fantastic, but yeah, Black Swan I thought was like, in my opinion, it's like one of the most perfectly crafted films ever. Like it's just I saw it 4 times in the theater.
This question,
yeah. I watch it about once a year. I have the Blu-ray. I watch it about once a year.
Movie?
Yeah,
wow.
I will go through periods where I'll obsess about it. I might watch it like 3 or 4 times in a row, like 4 days in a row, and then not touch it. Yeah. Oh yeah. No, I'm when people say like, what's your favorite movie? That's it. Like if I had to pick one forever, it would be Black Swan.
I've gotten some crazy answers. And then sometimes I get movies I've never even heard of and I have to make a note and go check them out. But that is a good movie. I agree with you. Wonderful movie. Well, Dominic, you have been awesome. I wish you guys like great success with your film. And I hope you'll come back and talk to me on the next one or anytime. And when this darn strike's over, I would love to meet and talk to you, Kelsey. nasty. So
she would love it. Yeah, you'd get a kick out of her.
Let her know that I think she's awesome, not in a bad way.
Yeah, absolutely will do.
And I love the movie you guys wrote.
Thank you very much. Really appreciate it. And thank you so much for having me on.
Yes, thank you. And I wish you guys a great day. Bye.
You too.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Movie Making with Renelle Golden is brought to you by Samira Entertainment, supporting indie films and the filmmakers who create them. Stop by their website to learn more. www.samiraentertainment.com. That's www.samiraentertainment.com. You've been listening to Movie Making with Renelle Golden. Be sure to come back for our next episode where we bring you the people who make movies you love. Got a topic about filmmaking you want to hear on our podcast? Send us an email at moviemakingpodcast@gmail.com. Thanks for listening.